Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Courtney. Today I have got 3 Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs for you, and 2 of them are inspired by my subscribers, or 2 of my subscribers. So a couple of weeks ago on my Facebook group, I did ask the group, hey, would you guys be interested in every now and then me doing some videos of some of the projects that I'm seeing posted on Facebook? And they were all very excited. Yes, please do that. Most of them wanted to be surprised and not know that their project was going to be featured. So I'm leaving it at that. But in my Facebook group, I always post the latest tutorial. So for those of you who are wanting to know ahead of time, I will tag you in Facebook and let you know that, that your project was featured. Now, my DIY shoutouts that I do at the end, they have been all from Facebook. I will pull them from Instagram, but you have to tag me there. So if you're on Instagram and not Facebook and you want me to see it, you need to use either tag me at Creative on the Cheap, or this is the tag that I've created and I'm standing by it. It's hashtag Creative on the Cheap DIY. So if you're wondering, you know, at the end of my videos when I do DIY shoutouts, how you can get featured on that, either be part of my Facebook group or tag me on Instagram at Creative on the Cheap or hashtag Creative on the Cheap DIY. Now, here's the timestamp for those of you who just want to get straight into this tutorial. For the rest, I had several questions about a comment I made in my last video, so I'm going to answer those questions right now. So I said in the last video that I don't necessarily always post the same content on each of my social medias, which I have Facebook and I have Instagram. Okay, so the main 2 reasons why I do not put the same stuff on each of my social medias is this. Number 1, I'm just not really a big fan of duplicating, because I feel like those people who do both Facebook and Instagram, it's just a lot, and that's just the personal preference. Like, I just kind of like to see different things on each one. But the main reason why is just time constraints. It's so much easier for me right now when I do something, I know it either goes to Facebook or it either goes to Instagram, and it's just a time thing. So those are the 2 main reasons why. Now let me tell you the differences between my Facebook and my Instagram, so that hopefully that answers it, and you guys will know what the difference is. Okay, so for Facebook, I do monthly challenges every month. Occasionally I will take a month off, but for instance, for August, our challenge is a $10 or less Dollar Tree DIY. It can be any kind of DIY. And at the beginning of the month, the first couple days of the month, I will post the information along with what the post date is. And then anytime on the post date, you can post your project, and everybody who participated in it gets put into a drawing for a prize. Some of the prizes I've done in the past have been my little ladybug vacuum, a Sure Bonder glue gun and glue sticks. This month for August, it is some Cricut stencils that I will be making. They will be stencils that you guys are going to see me use in some future DIYs in the next few months. So I will be giving those away. And some of the past challenges have been like dupe challenges for Pottery Barn, Anthropology, just things like that. So that is one thing I do exclusively in Facebook. The second thing is the latest tutorial that I do is always posted right in the announcements, kind of at the top of the group. So you can always find it very, very easily, direct linked to the latest video that I've put out. The other thing is DIY tips and tricks, hacks, little things that I might do that make my life easier when I'm crafting. I'll share on Facebook. A main thing is I use it also for a sounding board for ideas. So there's a lot of times where I kind of have an idea brewing around in my head and I'm just not quite sure. I'll put it out there on Facebook and get feedback from them. So you kind of, as a Facebook member, sort of know where my brain length is, like just kind of like what I might be thinking and what might be coming. So you kind of get a little bit more behind the scenes there. And then at the beginning of every month, I do kind of just like a little get to know you kind of question, and you can just learn more about people in the group. So that's for Facebook. Instagram will always have pictures of my latest project, and it will always refer you to the bio, which was where you'll find my channel link. I do not exclusively link the video tutorials in my bio. It's always my channel. Then you can click on my channel and find the video that way. Also exclusively on Instagram is going to be my time-lapse videos of just small, short, quick little DIYs. I've already done, I think, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 just on Instagram. So that's going to be where you find those little DIYs, as well as bargain shopping finds. I recently posted some cute Halloween stuff I found from HomeGoods, so stuff like that. And then occasionally I'll share a little bit of my personal life on there, some things going on outside of crafting, but not very often. But the thing that they both have in common is I will pull shout outs from both. Again, you just have to tag me on Instagram, and nobody's really done that. I've had a couple people, but just again, at Creative on the Cheap or hashtag Creative on the Cheap DIY. So those are the two differences between the two. I hope that answers the questions of those of you who are asking me. But yeah, so I do keep them separate. That's just the way it is. Occasionally I will like duplicate. If I do a really good time-lapse, really good, that sounds conceited. If I do a time-lapse video on Instagram and I feel like my Facebook group would really like it, I will bounce it over there. I've done that once before, but it's not every time. So all right, there you go. So without further ado, let's get into today's DIYs inspired by 2 of my subscribers. Let's go. Here is the first project. It is inspired by Tracy, and here is her cute little plate that she posted on Facebook. For the first DIY, I'm going to be working with one of these black plates from Dollar Tree, as well as starting off with some of the Waverly White chalk paint. I'm going to grab a little bucket here and then a placemat, all from Dollar Tree, and I am going to just get my splatter paint on. So I'm just going to dip my brush, and as you can see, just kind of flick it around, getting little white specks all over the plate. And as you can tell there on the bottom right of my plate, I got a little heavy-handed there, so I would recommend having just a damp paper towel or some baby wipes so that you can just wipe off those blobs. And here's what the plate looks like when it's all done. The next step is to just start painting a moon. So I'm starting with the Waverly White as kind of a base coat, getting the size of my moon, and then I'm going to go back in with some Silver Lining Waverly chalk paint, as well as the Elephant chalk paint, all from Waverly, and just kind of, you know, dab it on, take it off, dab it on, take it off, just doing all that till I get the look that I want. While my moon is drying, I'm going to take some of these ghosts from Dollar Tree. I showed you guys these in a haul, and I'm going to go in and paint the Waverly White chalk paint. Now, these little ghosts with the holes in the head, I didn't like the holes because it just, I don't know, it made me think of like a bullet hole right in the head, which I guess for Halloween wouldn't be that bad, but I just didn't like it. So let me tell you what I did. For one of the little holes, I ended up using wood filler. For another one, I did some hot glue, and then I grabbed a third one and I ended up putting just paint in there. The two that turned out the best, actually the wood filler was the best version, followed by the hot glue. The paint just kept sinking into the hole and I didn't want to keep stacking it. So my recommendation to you, if you don't want the hole, is just to go ahead and do the wood filler. I'd never filled a hole with hot glue and I wanted to try it, but honestly, I am really not a fan of that. So anyway, I'm just going to give these ghosts 2 coats of this white paint. Next step is to work on the fence. So I took 6 of the small popsicle sticks that you can get from Dollar Tree, as well as 1 large one from Walmart. And what I'm doing is I'm just basically clipping the ends to make them pointy. And I'm only going to clip one end to make it pointy, and then the other end I'm going to trim at different lengths and just trim it straight across. Now for the crossboard, this is one of those large popsicle sticks from Walmart, and the reason I chose to use this is because I just wanted one solid piece going across. You certainly could use the small popsicle sticks, but you are going to have to kind of piece it together. I just didn't want any seams or anything, so this is just a personal preference, but you certainly could just use the small popsicle sticks to make your crossbar. So basically what I'm doing here, which you can't see because it's out of camera, sorry about that, is I'm just trimming it down and making it a little bit thinner so that it's not super thick, and then that way I'll be able to attach my boards to it. Now that everything's trimmed, I'm kind of just laying out my board so I can make sure everything's the right length. I'm going to end up kind of slanting some, leaning some over, and just kind of making sure to place them where I want them to go. Now, before I put this fence together, I'm going to go ahead and paint them, and I'm going to end up using the Elephant chalk paint from Waverly, and it just took one coat of that paint to cover these, and I'm going to paint all of this with the gray, and then I'm going to go back in and dry brush with a little bit of black on each of the boards. My ghosts were looking a little too white, so I ended up going in and just lightly kind of brushing them with some of the black Waverly ink chalk paint. Also, a quick little tip, this brush right here is the best little distressing brush ever. I don't know why. Honestly, this is the first time I've used it because I do have a brush that I use for distressing, which you guys know I call it my wonky brush. But that one, all the bristles finally fell out of it, and so I picked this one up, and I don't know why I've never used it. Like, it is really awesome for this. So if you don't have this brush, you definitely need to get it. I'll try to see if I can find one and link it down below, but it's fabulous. I will be adding 2 little jack-o'-lanterns from this sticker sheet of wooden cutouts that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to paint it with the pumpkin Waverly chalk paint, and I end up doing actually 2 coats because on one of them I kind of got black all over it, and then I had to go back in and cover it up. So I'm going to put orange over the whole thing, and then I will go back in and paint the little stem part black. This is the last little thing I need to make for my scene. So I'm going to be making a little spooky tree using some brown paper bags from Dollar Tree. Now, when I first started making my tree, it was too thick and I didn't like how it looked. So basically, to make the trunk, I end up cutting one of the bags in half like you see here. And then I just kind of twist it, and I'll end up cutting the end in little strips to kind of make roots. And then for the branches, I basically ended up taking, I just wanted one thin sheet of this and it to be really skinny. So I basically, like this section right that I'm holding in my hand right here, I ended up cutting that in half and then half again. And I open it up and it's a super thin sheet. So I cut it in half, and then for the branches, like I said, I ended up cutting this in half. So right now this is my original branch. It was just too thick. I didn't like it. So basically you just half it again and then it becomes thin. So basically I'm just going to start assembling my little tree by hot gluing little branches all over it and just build a tree. Once my trunk is ready to go, I did kind of secure it with hot glue as I was wrapping it around so that it wouldn't come unraveled. And then I'm going to be attaching this to my plate with just hot glue. Now, if you want this to have a more permanent hold, I totally would recommend you doing a combination of hot glue and E6000 or some kind of super glue just to make it a little bit stronger. I could tell when I was putting it together it was very sturdy, but I could tell that if it kind of gets knocked that it may loosen something. So if you want it permanent, just go ahead and add that extra step. Now I'm ready to start gluing stuff down. So I'm going to start by gluing down one of the trees, well, the only tree actually, and then I'm going to kind of glue a ghost touching this tree. The other ghost is going to be floating off into space, and then from there I'm going to glue down some of the Dollar Tree moss, and then I will attach my fence. And then the last thing I will attach are my 2 jack-o'-lanterns. The last thing I was going to go in and add was some spider web. So I took a cotton ball and I was kind of pulling it apart and I just couldn't get it to look right. It was too, I don't know what the deal was. I do want to probably go back and add it eventually, but I give up at this point. But I did want to show you that you could go in and add some spider webs. And here is the finished project all put together. You certainly could go back in and add some little fairy lights if you wanted to, but I just think this plate is so adorable and it's gonna look great in the kitchen for Halloween. Now let's get into the second DIY inspired by one of my subscribers. So the next DIY is inspired by Ikika from my Facebook group. For the next Halloween DIY, you're going to need 3 of these foam dice from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to start by painting each of these with 3 coats of the Waverly White chalk paint. While my dice are drying, I'm going to work on what I'll be putting on the dice. So I have a wooden bee that I got from Dollar Tree that I'm just going to paint with 1 coat of the black ink chalk paint, and then 2 more of those little jack-o'-lantern wooden cutout stickers that I'm going to paint with the pumpkin color Waverly chalk paint. The dice are all dry, so I'm going to take that little brush again and just lightly brush on some black paint onto all of these blocks, and then I will be ready to attach my bee and my 2 jack-o'-lanterns. To attach my wooden cutouts, I am simply just going to use some hot glue to put them on. So once I get all 3 of these attached, then I am going to stack the blocks on top of each other, again using hot glue to stick them together. And then my final touch for this is going to be to take one of the little wooden witch cutout stickers, and I'm just going to hot glue a toothpick to the back of it, and then I'm going to stick it in right through the bee block. Here is the final product. Thank you, Ikika, for the inspiration. I absolutely love it. This last little DIY is super easy. This is just one of the little lanterns that you can get from Dollar Tree. I like this one because the inside light is actually yellow, so I thought it would be great for Halloween. I'm going to end up putting this little lantern next to my little wooden, well, they're not wooden, but my little dice blocks that I just made. So basically all I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to alternate sides, going white, black, and painting stripes. I end up having to put 2 coats of white to get it to cover it fully, but for the black I just did 1 coat. Now what I'm doing right now is when you paint this, some of the paint will kind of get into those little openings. So you're going to want a little toothpick or something sharp that you can just kind of get that paint out like I'm doing there. So it doesn't clog up the little holes. But once I do that, then the last little thing I'm going to do is I am going to take off that silver ring at the top, and I'm going to paint just the 2 little knobs on top with some of the pumpkin orange Waverly chalk paint. the little lantern all finished. I think all three of these projects look really great all together, which I'm probably going to stage them that way. Thank you so much, Aikika and Tracy, for the inspiration. I absolutely love doing these projects. They were so fun. Thank you guys for continuing to watch my channel. Please give this video a thumbs up if you love Halloween DIYs. It really helps out my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a great day. Bye.